activist, I can say, economist. First of all, what do you think of what's happening in Bahrain, and what do these people, I heard you earlier speak, we didn't get to cover that, but what did you actually say to the protesters outside the Bahrain embassy here in London?
Well, I was making the point that I have been campaigning on the issue of Bahrain for almost 20 years, in Parliament and outside of Parliament, in the streets and in the media, about the despicable little despotism that is the Al Khalifa royal kleptocracy, whose sole purpose in life is to suck the blood of the people of Bahrain, and who rely upon foreigners and always have relied upon foreigners to keep them in their occupation of power. This Prime Minister has been the Prime Minister for not 30 years like Mubarak, not 32 like Ali Abdullah Saleh, not 42 like Muammar al-Gaddafi. This Prime Minister has been the Prime Minister since 1961, before the Beatles, and they've been 40 years dead. He was the Prime Minister. He's the Prime Minister though nobody elected him. He's the Prime Minister because he's the uncle of the king. Who elected the king? Nobody. He came by force and he took this power. And they have depended in recent years upon the American fleet and the investment that the United States has in Bahrain in order to keep their thieving royal family in power. But now they've gone a step further. They have brought the gangster regime of Saudi Arabia across the causeway to murder their own people who are unarmed, civilians, asking for nothing more than the right to vote, to choose their own government, like the people of America or Britain or France can do. And the irony upon irony is that today, this day, Saudi Arabia is flying and bombing in Libya to defend civilian demonstrators, they say, whilst killing civilian demonstrators in Bahrain and killing civilian demonstrators in their own country. This sickness, this hypocrisy, surely on the last day will be judged. But long before the last day, we have to make sure these people are held to account here on earth. And that's what the revolution is about, not just in Bahrain, but from the Atlantic to the Gulf. The slogan is the same. The people have decided on the end of this regime, and we will not stop until these corrupt kings and puppet presidents, these dictators, are swept away.
A few people have mentioned that this is a sectarian issue, being the uprisings mostly by Shias. What do you have to say about that?
Well, this is absurd, really, because in Yemen next door, it's Sunni. In Egypt, it was Sunni. In Tunisia, it was Sunni. In other Arab countries, it will be Sunni. Sunni and Shia. This division means nothing to me. There is only one Islam. There is only one Quran. And above all, there is only one God. And everybody is the child of the same God. And we all have a right to live and breathe freely, without oppression, without being stolen from, without being tortured or killed by tyrants who appoint themselves as kings. I don't believe for 1 minute that all the people struggling for freedom in Bahrain are Shiites. But if they are, shame on the Sunnis in Bahrain for not joining this freedom struggle, because this freedom struggle is in the interests of everybody. This dictatorship oppresses everybody. You think Khalifa cares who is a Sunni and who is a Shia? You think Al Saud cares who is a Sunni and who is a Shia? They care only for their own power and their own wealth. They are ready to bring kuffar from America to defend them. What do they care about Islam? What do they care about religion? These hypocrites. One day they will pay the price, inshallah.
The Prime Minister has sort of swept away any protests happening in Bahrain. And yesterday, when asked a few times, he mentioned that he had spoken to the kings of Bahrain. What's the British interest in hiding the truth about Bahrain? Or should I say the British government's interest?
The British government's interest is the same as it was when it invaded and occupied Iraq. It's the same as as it is now that it's launching military strikes against Libya. They are interested in continuing the more than 100 years of sucking the blood of the Arabs and keeping them divided and weak, the better to do so. That's why they support this regime today and not tomorrow. That's why they support that regime against this regime. They want to divide and rule the Arabs so they can steal their things. And it's been very successful. Since Sykes and Picot and Balfour redesigned the Middle East almost 100 years ago, the imperial countries have been able to loot the Arab countries in perpetuity for almost a century. And they want to do it for another century. And if the Arabs allow them, then they are bigger fools than I think that they are. I believe the Arab world has woken up like a giant after slumber. This giant has risen to its feet, and it's not going to be easily diverted from its demands. So don't look for anything from the British government. The British government is a hypocrisy, not a democracy. Depend on the masses, depend on the Arab masses, and make, above all, the call for freedom from Manama. I believe very soon, inshallah, we'll be there in 3 months.
So Galloway, thank you very much for your work. Good luck with your work. There you go. You've heard it. Galloway.